back from lunch, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed the morning and had some interesting discussions, hopefully with some new people over lunch. The discussion I had over lunch was mostly around the business transformation panel that we heard this morning, and it was really interesting. Like, on the one hand, we were talking about how some of the challenges we face seem almost insurmountable between climate change, resource scarcity, biodiversity loss. There's a lot, and Brendan from World Business Council for Sustainable Development talking about how we're going to need at least a 7-fold increase in our technology productivity if we're going to meet these challenges. It can feel, frankly, it can feel a little bit overwhelming. But then you hear from companies like Subaru, Canadian Tire, the Unbuilders one I found fascinating, Nature's Path, and you see there's all of these amazing entrepreneurs and amazing technologies and amazing businesses out there that really are getting us on the right path, hopefully. But what went through my mind and what we talked about over lunch is, can we scale up both to the level and at the pace we need to stay ahead of these challenges that we face? So I was thinking about scaling up, and my mind immediately went to Harald. He is going to absolutely inspire you about our need for and ability to scale up our ambition, both through the practices we do and the constituency and people that we need to involve. He's one of the world's leading thought leaders on circular economy. He's the CEO of Circle Economy in the Netherlands. And just by very brief introduction, he's an absolutely fascinating, energetic guy that I've had the privilege to get to know a little bit last night. He's run both for-profit and not-for-profit enterprises. He co-founded Impact Hub Myanmar. He's run a renewable energy company and worked at the United Nations in New York City. He's done a lot, so you're in for a treat. Be inspired by him. Take in what he has to say, listen to the other sessions, the conference that Heather and Joanne and others have worked so hard to put together, but then get the hell out of this room and go and recruit other people that we need on this journey towards circularity, because it's a big task that we have. So welcome, Harald. Come on up. Knock him dead, buddy.
Thank you. Hello, Vancouver. Hello, Canada. Thanks, Mike, for setting me up for failure. Always hard to inspire when you're called an inspiring guy. I ask you one thing today, and it's difficult from this stage. That's why I will walk around a bit, because I can't see your faces. Please stay with me. And please pay attention for the next 40 minutes when we have this session, because I believe then we can make change happen. If we're truly here, and then I can tell my kids this was worthwhile to travel. And I had risked a heart attack of some of the organizers, and I want to thank you, the organizers, for putting up one of the most professional conferences I've seen in the last year. Fantastic job. Thank you very much for bringing me here. Yeah, really true. And I had to escape for an hour now before I was speaking to Stanley Park, because I only have 18 hours here in the country, and I said I have to leave for a second, and I risked a heart attack of the organizers, but for me it was worth it. I was standing in Stanley Park, and I was reminded when I came here last time to Vancouver Airport 19 years ago, unfortunately that long ago, and there were two things I had to think about. One was, I felt truly connected with nature here. And you, the people who are from here, you live in such a beautiful environment, such a beautiful country. You're very lucky. And the good thing about feeling connection with nature is obviously that we are able, hopefully, to make these changes that we need to make in a system, to a circular economy, to a more holistic system. It's going to be much easier if we can connect to nature from time to time. And the second thing I thought, when I came here 19 years ago, I was a student. I studied at Edmonton University of Alberta, for half a year as an exchange. It was a very good time. I had the chance to go skiing a lot. I'm from Austria, so that's what you have to do. when you don't study. And I've come here back again as a student, because many people call us thought leaders or action leaders on circularity, but truly I come here to learn from what Canada is going through, what's happening in North America. It's such a vast topic that even if I have been working on this for the last 3 years very intensively, it's an ever-evolving subject we are learning about every single day. And it brings me to storytelling. You're told that as a student it's important to tell stories. And I'm going to have not a very technical talk today. I'm going to tell you a couple of stories that are important for me. Hopefully some of them inspire you. And storytelling is very important in times of fake news. Because the stories hopefully are portraying some of the facts and figures and the realities that we are facing. And it has to do also with the combination of the new wisdom with the old wisdom. And when I talked yesterday with a couple of people about Vancouver Island, about Canada as a country, there's so much old wisdom here that we have to get back to and incorporate in our daily lives that I'm very inspired to be here to feel that again. And that's hashtag circular news. I think we need more circular news, not less fake news, and focus really on the things we can do. And I'm trying to tell you today a bit of story how this whole circular change is relevant to me, because it's a story about me, to you guys here, to our countries, and to the future for our kids, because it's something we have to choose today to do differently from the past. And the first thing, what my team always tells me, we have to connect. So please connect to me on any of these platforms, Instagram, harry.circular, harold@circulareconomy.com, or on Twitter, also on LinkedIn. Happy to hear from you. And please make suggestions how we can work together, how we can do things better. And if you have any questions or things that we can improve, or that I can improve in terms of how I present this subject, I'm really, really, really happy to hear from you. And then I promised my team to do a very big quickies, I said. Selfie. Selfie with you. Can you all show your hands? And thank you very much. This is also done. And so I'm going to speak about 4 things. One is the situation we're in. 2, what we can do to change the situation where we want to go, because I don't think we have all clarity on where we want to go. 3, the technicalities of this change. So what does circular economy mean in terms of business model, digital innovation, etc.? How we can accelerate this and how it's relevant to you. That's us. We are an organization of 50 people working out of Amsterdam at the moment. And we're working on circular transitions. So we help cities, governments, and businesses to go from a linear model to a circular model. And we have all kinds of members, big companies, small companies, NGOs, cities, regions, and now also we're starting to work with governments. The whole story we hear about every day when we listen in the news, I think it's all very personal. I can give you all kinds of facts, the 10,000 wildfires that we see from the Amazon to the Congo to Siberia, the extinction of many, many species, and many other problems, but it's also a very personal story. And this is a photo of my smallest son 2 years ago at his birthday. On the same day when this happened in May, the same day the news broke that on the deepest bottom of the ocean in the Mariana Trench, they found plastic bags. And this was a story I often tell because it's a very personal story. When you listen and talk to your kids, it's very embarrassing to say that our generation has been able to produce this and that we have gone into this big mess. And we obviously know from Brexit to what is happening in your neighboring country, to the social unrest that we are seeing, to the environmental problems, there is really a difficult situation out there. And I don't want to dwell on this so much, but I think just a reminder that we all agree on the starting point. And often I find myself in a very weird position that I have to argue why a circular model might be better than the current situation, while I could ask the other question around, why can't you argue why the current situation is one that is worthwhile continuing to work with? This is statistics from the US, where they're actually showing, are we as a society becoming richer? Are we becoming more prosperous? That's true in terms of the GDP, so the gross domestic product, when you look at the income of a country per capita, but when you look at a more comprehensive indicator, which is, for example, the Genuine Progress Indicator, it's one of several, that looks at social and societal topics, environmental topics, and economic indicators. We're actually, since the 50s, not going up, it's not getting better, we are stagnating, just as the news. And it's a very beautiful piece. I wanted to play it to you, but you at home, you have time to do this. I don't have the time today. Robert F. Kennedy's speech from now 50 years ago, or 60 years ago, when he's talking about why GDP is not reflecting what a country is standing for and what are the values we actually should get back to. And I truly find this a very inspiring piece when I think about how to explain the circular economy, because the circular economy is about this balanced approach to life where we have to rebalance what is economic, what are the economics of things, the financial facts, which is very important to take into consideration, but we have to truly build a system that is not only about the economy, that puts the human being central to everything, nature central, because we need this for the future generations. What's at the core? This is a wonderful pig I always show. At the core of this development of a linear economy, why have we gotten so far? And when you read into a lot of research, this is coming often back. Pig, the problem with instant gratification. Why are we in a system that we always need the newest thing? And one of the Apple lead designers posted the other day, I think on LinkedIn, something that said, that read, we always have to have the newest device. And I just don't believe we have to have the newest device. But sometimes we don't dare to question these words anymore that come from very competent people. But I think it's time to really reflect where we are. And this is a report we did 1.5 years ago at the World Economic Forum. And we looked at how circular is the world in terms of all the resources you are seeing flying through the world or floating through the world. And this is the fact or the figure that came out. It's 9.1%. And you have to look at it from the other way. It does mean that it's 90% or more than 90% non-circular. Now, many people warned me from publishing that figure because it could be 11%, it could be 7%, depending on which assumptions you're making. But why I think it's a very powerful figure that has also been reused a lot now by CEOs and by governments. It is powerful because it shows us the opportunity to change. And the circular economy truly is an opportunity to change. That's why I want here today to take an effort into mobilizing you. That's, I think, also the subject of the day. How do we mobilize one another for change? One question to all of you. Who knows the book Donut Economics? By Kate Raworth. Okay, maybe 10-15%. Okay. Who thinks that Canada is a developing country? Who thinks that Canada is a developing country? Who thinks that Canada is a developed country? Not everybody. It's either or. I try one more time. It's, who thinks that Canada is a developing country? Please, 10%, 5%, good. Who thinks that Canada is a developed country? The rest. Okay. I'm from Austria, so if you ask me the same question, Austria and any other European country at the moment, everybody will say all these countries are developed nations. But it's a beautiful book, and if you have a chance to read through it, it's called Donut Economics, the economics for 21st century, where my friend Kate Raworth is making this analysis. And she looks at what does a country take in terms of the resources and how much are they spending too many resources if you look at it from a planetary boundary point of view, and how is a country taking care of its citizens in terms of the social needs. And when you look at the left side here on the graph, it shows and she calls it donut, the donut where you have to be. So the inner donut shows the social threshold, and the outer part of the donut, the outer boundary, the biophysical boundary, the planetary boundary that we are seeing through the resources that we have available on the planet. And according to this book, according to this way of looking at a country, Canada is by far using too many resources in terms of ecological footprint, material footprint, CO2 emission, phosphor, nitrogen. It's overspending on everything that it actually has available. And when you look at the statistics and which is a country that actually is within the donut, which is a safe and just space of a country to be in terms of its development, then the darling of all countries is Vietnam, which is a very interesting and surprising news when we all read that, where, okay, the country is taking care of its citizens, they are quite okay in terms of its social performance, but it's not very much digressing or transgressing planetary boundaries. And I think that's an interesting fact. It's published on the website of Leeds University, and I bring it up because it should show you where we are these days and why it is on all of us in terms of a global justice, if you think about it in that way, why we have to change quickly. But it's not only about China against the US, but why all countries have to pick up their feet now and change much faster. Not everybody is a specialist in circular economy. That's the 2 slides that explain it in 20 seconds. That's the old system, producing something, and then at the end, normally not thinking what happens with the product after its lifetime. And a lot of the stuff is just incinerated or landfilled. And this is how we could think of a system that is much smarter. Why don't we think of the design phase? How can we recycle products, refurbish, how we can reuse them or keep them, maintain them longer in the system? Which seems, when you talk to anybody that is not brainwashed as we all are, this seems logical. My kid said, why is this not happening yet? And this is a whole other discussion. We want to go to systems, again, that are regenerative, that are redistributive by design. We don't want to have systems that destroy themselves. We don't end civilization after this or the next generation. We're here for the long run, hopefully. And not only an ecosystem like the one before, we can see as a system also us in our companies, within our value chains, within our cities and countries are systems that we have to take care of. Here I wanted to ask you a question. Do we all agree first that the current system has created a lot of problems? Please, a show of hands who agrees with that. Thank you, that's 90% plus, perfect. Do we all agree that a circular system provides very clear systemic solutions that could change the system, that could reverse the negative effects that we have, and could make us fit for a better future? Who agrees with that? Also the majority. Thank you very much, that's beautiful. And I think on this journey, when we are talking now about Extinction Rebellion, when we talk about the Fridays of the Future protests every Friday we're seeing all over the world, we often forget, and I talked with the 2 organizations about that, that many, many, many people, including a lot of you here in this room, are working every day on systemic change. And at this point, I want also, because we also in difficult times that we want to achieve change, and it's very difficult to achieve it, I would like to give those a hand of applause, a round of applause, who are every day working on systems change. And I hope you can join me in that. Because we have to remind ourselves of the good things. And I believe we can make this moment, President Obama said, yes, we can. And not everything he delivered, unfortunately. But I think we have to make this a new Obama moment, a moment that we say, we have another decade to change. Change has to happen today. And I would love that you repeat with me the words, yes, we can, and we will, because this is how I would like to send you out of this room. Can you repeat with me? Yes, we can, and we will. Yes, we can, and we will. Yes, we can, and we will. Awesome. And recently I had a talk with some festivals, and we invented the new circular sign. You know, it's not only about peace and happiness, it's about circular, and hopefully we can make this a big movement. How do we do this? Now the technicalities, the boring stuff. As an organization, we are helping countries, and we look at a country on how the resources flow through the country, and we would like to do this a lot more. We recently did this with Austria, we do it with the Netherlands, I hope we soon do it with Canada. We also start with Norway, and the interesting part of this, yes, you get a figure how circular your country is, but the much more interesting thing, because everybody says then, oh no, but we're only 7% circular, 9% circular. There's a lot of fear at the beginning, but when you actually get all the actors in the room, and they say, this is the figure that we have at the moment, and this is the solutions, this is the process we can go through, this is the empowerment of the stakeholders, then it's getting a really interesting discussion. So we did this in Austria, and it was a fantastic experience where people are now looking at the solutions. We do the same with cities. We did a couple of 20, we work now with about 20 cities in Asia and in Europe, and hopefully also we're kicking off work with Toronto very soon, where we look at the resource streams in a city. And again, that's a very linear way of looking at it, and you can look at this in a much circular way. And really, for me, circularity is always a means to an end. It's a means to achieve the SDGs, to go to a climate-neutral society, to achieve an economy that has a balance of its societal aspects, the human aspects, of the environmental aspects, and the economic aspects. And I think it's really an opportunity agenda that many people can get behind. We're trying to scale up our work. We are digitizing a lot of the stuff we're doing, the processes and the products, so we can not only do one city at a time, but really empower hundreds and thousands of city officials, managers, consultants that are working with cities to do more of this work. Important for Canada, we recently, I think about 2 years ago, in Holland, which is also a very big agricultural country, not as big as Canada, obviously, we did work on the circular cow. We also look at systems like agriculture, how we can change them. And there's an interesting brochure, you can download it from our website. I don't have time to look into this, to give you the details. But it again looks at how does an agriculture system has to change. Because the ground in Holland is so empty now, because it has been used so heavily over the last decades that it's not fit anymore for the future, and it's certainly not anymore healthy. So how can we again build regenerative and redistributive systems? We often do this, and it's a very basic thing, and please just email me or connect to me on Instagram. I'm happy to share with you our wheel of opportunity. We have 2, 3, 4 one-pagers where you can easily get going yourself in an hour and think of how can I apply this to my business. And these are 7 key pillars of the circular economy. I want to give you a couple of examples how they look very, very practical. One is we have to prioritize regenerative resources. Obvious, the whole energy transition is happening big time, also in North America, and I know, having lived in Edmonton, how important there not always regenerative resources are. So that's a big conversation that we have to engage all sectors with to see where we're going together in the future. That's a beer, for example, brewed in Holland that uses rainwater as an ingredient. A very small example, but just one way of thinking about regenerative resources. A very famous outdoor brand is using now plastic. We have heard it from these very inspiring entrepreneurs before. They're using recovered plastic to make very beautiful high-end products. A very normal, or hopefully very normal in the future, but a very clear example of how you can upscale and upcycle. We did a project with Philips that is producing and manufacturing MRI scanners that are not affordable for every hospital in the world. And we thought of how can we make this into as a service, into a leasing model, which is a model that is often used in the circular economy. And we advised them to build a remanufacturing hub in Rotterdam, where they are bringing all the MRI scanners globally back into the system, so they're never losing the resources they actually used to produce such a thing. One of the very good outcomes of this was that MRI scanners therefore became much cheaper and much more accessible to emerging economies and developing countries. What's still missing is, what we haven't done with them yet, is what were actually the effects in terms of employment, in terms of, in detail. What we know is it had very positive effects on the value chain and from an economic point of view, and also in terms of less greenhouse gas emissions used. New business models, that's a very exciting bit, because it's really not a tree hugger agenda, the circular economy. It's something that's very grounded in the best what humans have to offer, which is innovative design, entrepreneurship, and new business models are very strong in this. Some of you might know it's called bundles. It's a company that charges per turn of, or per wash, basically. So it again is a business model that incentivizes the company to keep the product itself on its own balance sheet, and it's making it for the consumer accessible, and you're paying per use. Pay-per-use is becoming a very useful approach. You have now the same for mattresses, you have it for jeans, you can lease jeans, you don't need to own your clothes anymore. All of this to design products to keep them longer in the system and make an incentive for companies to do so. I don't have much more time, so going a bit faster now. Actually, I ran out of time, but I hopefully have 2 more minutes. Headphones, modular headphones that are repairable from a company called Gerard Street, an interesting example of how you can design your products much better. And that's a very nice one. I like to have this always here. Heinz and Ford collaborated on how they can use the peel of a tomato to use it for the dashboard for cars. which often is talking about unlikely allies collaborating on new business models together. The digital transformation, we speak about this for sure in these next 2 days or these next 1.5 days a lot. We did a project with DHL on reverse logistics, how you can bring mobile phones back to the mobile phone producers and back into the chain. Reverse logistics is a huge topic with many issues, because in the end of the day, if you close loops globally, you always have to ask, does this make economic sense? But local loops is a very important one that we focus on more about. In the whole digital technology transformation, also important, another example, many companies work with us to see, can the internally established marketplaces, how you can use the old waste and turn it into a resource for another product, another good digital technology that is used. And it's possible. I want to leave you today with the message, it is possible. A very unlikely ally came to us in the last weeks. It was about, and I want to do an exercise with you. How many, can I do it still 2 minutes? Yes? Okay. Can I ask you the permission to make you uncomfortable? A bit? Thank you. That's a yes, right? Anybody know? Who is uncomfortable has to leave. Can you choose a partner next to you, please? One partner, and can you turn to your neighbor, one-on-one? As I don't have enough time, can you just do it quickly, please, without a lot of talking? And when I say go, please just look into your neighbor's eyes. Don't smile. It's not a child. It's saying, just look into your neighbor's eyes until I say stop. Okay. We start with 3. Is it okay? Please don't talk. We don't have so much time, unfortunately. Otherwise, they throw me out here. Okay. We start in 3, 2, 1, 0. Please look into your neighbor's eyes. No talking, please. Thank you. Just look into your neighbor's eyes. Okay, thank you. Okay, please. No, it's funny, I know. Thank you. Applause for you. It's on the slide. Anybody can give me feedback what happened? What did you feel? Except uncomfortable. Did you say something?
No, awkward.
Awkward? What did you feel? What did you feel if it was not awkward?
Normal.
Normal? Okay. Connection? Beauty? Great. Anything else? Huh? Cold. Calm. Okay. Thank you. So I thank you for bearing with me. It's a connection exercise. You can look at it at YouTube as well. I think scientists say when you look at each other's eyes for 3 to 5 minutes, there are feelings of love coming. And people start crying and everything. Yeah, you didn't expect this morning, right? That's true. And I like to do this exercise because, you know, what I'm struggling with, and yesterday we had a session with the Zero Waste Board. And yes, the whole circular economy transition and the concept sounds so beautiful, but it demands a lot. It's not a shift that's going to just come. And I think one of the preconditions to engage in this very daring journey is to connect yourself with others. We do this, and it sounds maybe very wishy-washy, but it's not, because when you're connected with others, you automatically will make different choices, as we know. When you're connected with your family, you don't only think of yourself. And we do this in a pre-competitive space, for example, in the textile sector, in the construction sector. We are building, as an organization, trusted spaces where people along the supply chain are coming together, and we're talking about big companies here, or representative of big companies. They're coming together and truly connect to each other to say, what has to change? And deep change and fast change, to my mind, will only happen when we are connected. I talked about my connection with nature, trying to connect with you better by just talking to you and not giving you a technical talk. And recently we did this with festivals. There are 20 festivals, global festivals came to us. In Holland is the World Capital of Festivals, and they said, how can we go circular in the next 2 years? They even signed the Green Deal, yeah, it's called Green Deal. How can they change? And nobody has the answer. And it's so nice, because the CEO of these festivals come and say, I don't have the answer, Harald, but let's together try in a very vulnerable and open way to explore. Again, with festivals, we are starting with an analysis. All this stuff is happening based on facts. How do the economics look like? And then we try to change them. And we have very beautiful outcome with festivals already in the last years. We tried this out a bit. Yes, we can make new art. It's an ecosystem where we are trying to, this circular economy out. We have designed new products like long-lasting cups. And we even have designed with one of the festival organizers an eco coin, a local coin. It was not us, it was one of our colleagues that is actually going to speak later from a company called Metabolic that also was working on this. And it's a fantastic way of incentivizing a local economy, and where we're going to go circular together with this. So I want to leave you with this sign. My designer said it's not sure if it's beautiful, but I think it is. I just put the Canada in today myself. I think Canada is popping up on the heat map of circular economy a lot in the last year. And that's beautiful. That's what we see in Europe. Your government is trying a lot. There's the World Circular Economy Forum is going to happen next year. Cities are waking up. Businesses are. It's a full house here. It's amazing. And I believe on my advice from seeing ecosystems around circularity evolve in Europe and Asia, we have to assess the situation. This is the first part. We really have to focus on industries to make it very practical. There in the industries, we're only going to have and get to solutions if we do it together. Multi-stakeholder innovation is a key word. Community, I was talking a bit about community connection, which is going to create a safe space. And in the end, we need to prove by investment opportunities, by opportunities for businesses, that it is a better system than the current system. I'm not naive to think that this will just evolve. We have to really make clear that we are able to change the framework to make sure that the circular economy in the long run creates more prosperity for all, and therefore is the better alternative. And I'm going to leave you with this. I want to say one more word, because it was mentioned to me yesterday. Two very important sectors in Canada are the agriculture sector and the mining extractive sector. And we did some work here with a mining company in the last month. And also the whole mining industry, and I was very surprised when they came to us. And I asked them, why are you coming to us? And they said, we have 3 problems. One is our clients in the middle want something different. The government will change the rules and regulations. And our employees want change. Our employees want us to be part of the sustainable transformation for a future. So a company has a true incentive to get fit for the future. Circularity gives an opportunity. I'm happy to talk. Anybody who's interested more, please just get in touch. Mining industry, super hot topic at the moment in Europe, and we're looking at this. And here, 1, 2, 3, 4 are some opportunities when you look into the value chain and the actions of a mining company. That change is also possible in areas that we haven't thought are so easy to change. Not always easy, but certainly doable. And to the politicians of your country, it's important that we connect the whole debate to jobs. I think societal aspects of the circular economy are one that we will need to talk about much more, because we don't want to leave. We don't want to have a new system that again leaves too many people outside. It's important that we take people along, we take ecology along, we take and build a new economy that works. Holland is at the moment 8% of the jobs are linked to the circular economy. We don't have facts and figures yet for Canada, but I hope many more here. And I'm looking forward to working with you more. If you want to check us out, go on circle-lab.com, where you will find many ideas, many business opportunities, many business cases for the circular economy, and where you can download what you can do yourself with our circular wheel. Just get in touch. And please, 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 if you agree with me that we can make change happen, give me a sign at the end of my talk. Thank you very much.